The killing of this unarmed youth in Santa Rosa, California, is such a tragedy, such an unfortunate circumstance, and I think that it necessarily didn't have to happen. Now, according to one talk show here, there was no call that there was shooting in the area. There was no call that anybody walking around threatening anybody. There was none of that. They were just riding through and they saw this thing and they turned back and decided to confront this guy. What I heard in the talk show, KPFA, is that he said, turn around. And the fella turned to his right. And then is when they let go of him. But that don't seem to be true, because if they ask him to turn around, they know he has a big gun. Why would they ask him to turn around? But there was some command and he turned to his right and they gunned him down. Now, the gun, of course, is different from a 7 or 45, and they could have seen that. The muzzle beyond the barrel is kind of like shorter. And you know, you need to train your eyes to know when something is iron or plastic or bottle, and plastic or whatever, or by metal or aluminium. You need to train yourself to do that. I think this is a classic case of cowards. I think these two cops are cowards, and if you track them down, basically they've avoided all the problems. They have a good police report, so they could become police, because they were cowards. Mom say, you better stay home here because I know that fellas will beat you up if you go there. And so they're easily scared. Right? I mean, what if one officer had his gun reined in him and he sneaked up and grabbed him or something like that? I mean, that could have worked. That would have prevented a whole bunch of problems. Or tell him freeze. This was the word, freeze. Put your hand up. But the command don't seem to have been so decisive as to cause the guy not to make that movement. And then, of course, shooting this guy so many times is like, this is unreal. And then also, I understand they handcuffed the guy and tried to give him CPR. Now, when somebody is shot, CPR is irrelevant. You can't give them CPR, because any hyperventilation you see going on is simply because they don't have enough blood, or the red blood cells to take the oxygen from the lungs to the body. If they shot him to the chest, maybe the lungs are shot up. And so that is why they might be hyperventilating, and breathing seem to be a problem. But CPR now, pumping the chest and all that, is just killing them faster. You're pumping out the rest of the blood that might be, in the heart or whatever, and it's not going to necessarily improve the situation. You need to run them real quick to the hospital. And if they had grabbed them, well, I understand they handcuffed them too and gave them CPR. Police cars should be equipped to put somebody in the car and speed off to the hospital. Get the ambulance in it right away, but it took some time after they called for backup and called for ambulance and all this kind of. These are coward cops. These are cops that are kind of crazy, because after they shot the guy, they think there's gonna be some big war that they need to call for backup. I don't know if people started to gather around and start to oppress them, or be aggressive towards them, and they felt threatened or what. And these cops, they're trained to use deadly force. I mean, sometimes shooting in the foot works. You shoot them in the buttocks. Well, a bullet could be deflected from there and go up and puncture, organs in the body, and veins and arteries and so on. They're saying, well, this AK could pierce anything, the armor, the body armor, and go through house and go through the body of the car and all this kind of stuff. Well, just wait. Stay back and call for a lot of backup. But you see, they don't value human life. And I don't know if it's because it's a Latino make they shoot them. I don't know who the cops are, whether they're whites or not, but these are cowards. And quite recently I noticed there's an upsurge in cowards calling out and saying, they're beating us up, we need help, we need this, that. People are being bullied on the internet. Can you imagine that? Somebody in Russia, I'm here in America, and we're going to hook up on Facebook, and they're going to threaten me, and I'm going to go and commit suicide. Or I'm going to be I can't go outside because he threatened me. He's in Russia. He's from another city. Okay? And I'm not sure how folks get this soft and so all that they're kind of scared. I mean, if somebody punch you, hey, don't turn the other side, as Jesus says. Punch back. Okay? Learn to defend yourself. Talk your way out of stuff. And so there's this upsurge and this kind of coward thing. And many of them join the military, and they join the police force, saying, oh, we want to protect and serve. Simply because they're cowards, they think that they could protect others from, like cowards like themselves. And really and truly, all they want to do is to be trained and be armed so that they could sort of be offensive in their fears. They see something, oh, I'm afraid of this, I'm going to shoot it. You know, like if a policewoman that comes to a call and she has been beaten up, domestic violence and so forth, and if you're going towards her as a man, she's going to shoot you straight up. So these cops and these departments need to work this thing out. This is the protocol. When you stop a motorist, tell him you want to see his hands as you're coming up. Don't come up playing that you're peeping and then, whatever. Make sure nobody in the car the first time you walk up in the back seat. Make sure it's just one person, and tell him to keep his hand out. Perhaps he could keep his hand out all the time while you're doing your writing. And you walk up and you give him stuff and everything is good. He will go home to his wife and to his family and you go home safe. But I want to play like, oh, I could draw my gun real quick in case he had to turn around and all I could run behind him and shoot him in his head. I mean, they need to stop. They need to come up with ways that not only they could go home safe, but people could maintain and go about their business. And so, this coward thing, we need to work on this coward thing. It's dangerous because people are calling all kind of war and this and all kind of war and that because they're cowards. Some people calling down, bringing down fire and then bawling fire, fire. They light the fire and then they shout about fire. Okay, so all this craziness needs to stop. And so these cops need to behave better. And if they had only been a little brave, this guy would have been alive. Because if you could shoot well, even though his gun could do all of that, in a split second, you have your gun on him already. He has to come around and raise the gun up to get you and all that stuff. Yeah, of course, you could start firing and cut off your foot and all that stuff. But, you're approaching the guy, not two you together. You're far apart at different angles. So he should know real quick that he doesn't want to die. I mean, if he's suicidal, yeah, he might shoot one and get killed. But generally, if he could kill both, that might be okay. But if he can't do that, then he's going to chill. So they need to come to better strategies. They need to get brave and, stop killing innocent, unarmed folks.